Hello everyone. We are happy to be here to present you our portfolio project, the website ServiceShare. I am Adonis, the main front-end developer of this project, and in the future I'd like to specialize in the full-stack development.
Hello, I'm Eli Fetis from C22. For this project, I'm the main backend developer, and later I want to specialize on cybersecurity or video games.
The idea of this website came from our desire to create a space where people can meet, exchange, and help each other. So the website is a platform where you can share, research or post services, and contact every other user to exchange service. Let's see how it works. When you arrive on the main page, you can already see every post and see their content. But if you want to create an announce, you have to be registered. So you can create an account right here, but for the demo, I will use one already existing. Okay, now I'm logged, so I can now contact every user with the default mail app of the computer. And I can also create a post if I want. I have to choose if I want to ask or propose the service. Choose the title and the content. You can also add an image to your post. Then it successfully submits. Now I can retrieve it on the main page right here, or with the search bar here. And I can see the content, and it's my post as Johnny right here. Okay, let's back to the demo, to the presentation.
User can access the website by using his web browser and then interact with the React application. If the user wants to get some information like a post, he can request the API, and then the API will request the data access layer to get information from the database, and the server will send back information to the client.
For the technology we use in this project, there is a VS Code for the IDE. We use Git and GitHub for the versioning system to ensure good teamwork. IDSQL for visualize our database for an easiest management. And Postman for debugging to create client-like requests to the API. For the front end, we use React because it's efficiency and a nice one, and Bulma for styling.
For the backend part, we use some node modules, such as Express for the communication with the client, and Sequelize for the database management. We also use some module for the authentication, such as JSON Web Token or bcrypt for the password hashing.
On this code snippet, you can see the code of our search bar, who work as a filter. She can normalize the user input, then filter the post, and live update them on the main page.
We wanted the search bar to be as much possible user-friendly, so we introduced some features such as username search, content search, or title search. For the beginning, we started by some database research and we found a solution with MariaDB, and then we started the backend development.
On the second week, we initialized the front-end development, creating our first component and view with React. Then on the first week, we both finish our part of the development. So we've met for the fourth week for style and a few bug fix.
Our main goal was accessibility for user with some functionality such as responsiveness. We also want our website to be as much possible performant, and we are aware about security, so our user data are safe.
It was also a big human challenge. The collaboration has been a challenge for us. So we've made planning to work efficiently together in the same time every week, and we've split the task to do according with our skills and strength. That's all.
In the future, we want to add some functionality to the website, such as chat message or mobile application, and we want to integrate image support for profile picture or post.
During this project, I learned a lot, especially about front-end development. I learned all about React and Bulma. I also learned so much about project building, and I improved my JavaScript.
For my part, I learned about React and Bulma, and some modules such as NodeMailer.
Thank you for listening us, and if you have any question now.
Thank you guys, great presentation. You talked about security and user data. What did you do to ensure secure data for users?
I'm using a serialization system, so I delete dangerous data from the content before sending them to the client. And for some other data, I just don't put them in the same place.
Other questions?
In your code snippet, you use callback for promise. Why didn't you use something like async await or?
I don't use async because I'm on the front end on React, and I can't use async on things like use effect to await my functionality to come. So I use then full time on the front end.
Thank you. It was a volunteer to not split the application into two ways, like one for the professional and like one for the asker of services, or not, or just because maybe you don't have the time or stuff like that. So it was very a volunteer or not.
It's a functionality we want to add later that create a category for every post, like propose or asking the service, and also some smallest category like gardening or repairs, music, this kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. You have any other question?
I saw that you put NodeMailer but you didn't use it? And why not use providers that already exist? If not,
I want to make things by myself, so I use NodeMailer for the password reset. And I'm using SMTP with Gmail. And so I want to find a solution by myself. And it's like that with a token for the resetting, the password received by mail.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I have two questions. The first one is you have done the demonstration on Windows system. Do your solution is portable on another OS system, like such as Linux or?
We didn't try it on other exploitation system, but we've tried it on many browsers, and it's responsive on browser, but we have to implement the responsiveness deeper in the future. Oui.
Yes, the second question is you have done an API solution. How would you do if you have a lot of solicitation of this API?
For the moment, it's not an 8-scale platform. It's for cities such as Rodez. So we don't think about that for now. In the future, maybe if you want to implement this in other cities.
Are we good? Okay. Thank you for listening us. Good afternoon.
Hello everyone, and welcome at Holberton for you guys. So I'm a full stack developer student at Holberton School and I'm in C22. But in my previous job experience, I was a certified natural health professional and I combined my two hard skills to be able to build this web app that I'm going to show you right away. So my roles are obviously everything as I'm alone on this project. So I do the backend, front-end, UX UI for what it is for now. So I'm gonna explain to you what is Key Blossom. So it's an online short quiz that gives you instant and personalized advice to improve your well-being. So I'm gonna explain that in different parts. So I'm gonna start with the project story. Then I'm gonna show you a quick demo, the technologies that I used. Then I'm gonna show you the architecture and algorithm, and organization and timeline, the challenges I faced, and what's next for the future. So it all starts with something I noticed. So there is a lack of solutions for well-being. Most of the time there is poor accessibility in terms of budget and time. And people end up looking on Google and results are not personalized, not efficient, or even can be worrying. Most of the time, if you look up on Google because you have a little headache or something, you're probably gonna find out you have cancer. So it's not the best. So my website is accessible online with this URL. So you can also check up on your phone if you want, it's responsive. So I'm gonna show you the quick demo right away. So the front end is not really finished yet. So this is the homepage of the website. Then you have the navbar on the left with some content about who I am, what about the project, what I want to do in the future and everything. And then you can go back to the homepage and click on take the quiz and then it starts. So the first question is a disclaimer. So it means that you shouldn't take the quiz if you're in one of those situations. So if I click on yes here, there will be a disclaimer message. So you should leave and not take the quiz. But if you click on no, then there are going to be questions that are asked. So the first question, I'm going to reply. Then I'm going to be a bit fast on this test so it's not too long. So if I click yes here, then the second question is going to be retrieved. But if I clicked on no, actually, this question wouldn't be displayed. So it's in order to optimize the quiz and your time. So I'm going to reply just no, because that's the quickest way to end the quiz, actually. A bit of yes. And then you're going to have recommendations. So there is also a disclaimer here. So you should always check, right information to do that. So that's it for the quick demo. So in a nutshell, Key Blossom is a global and natural approach. The quiz is only in 1 minute, and you can have personalized recommendations. So the technologies I use is Sassy CSS, Next.js, Node.js, Sequelize for the ORM, MySQL for the database, and a little bit of SQL. So the architecture is really simple. It's just a front-back ORM to communicate with MySQL. I used Nginx and Node.js for the backend. So this is the database. So it seems like there is a lot, but it's quite simple, actually. So I generate a UUID because there is no user authentication. So I need to have integrity through the information till the end, till the recommendation is retrieved. So the session ID is linked with the answer that the user clicks on. Then there is the question. And depending on the answer that the user clicked, it's linked with the next question, and also the recommendation ID. And recommendation ID is linked with all the different categories. It's as simple as that. So this is the code snippet I choose. So it's from the backend. So it's with the router middleware from Express. So it exposes the API to execute the code. So it takes as input the question ID. If there is none, it's going to be 1 for the first question. Then it's going to find the question text that is related to it and the answer options, and it's going to retrieve it to the front end, as simple as that. And there is, a catch error if anything happens. So how I organized myself? I use Trello mostly. I didn't want to put Discord. I don't know why there is Discord here, because I was alone. I think I just mistaken for something else. I used Git and GitHub to have a test, a branch, and a development branch. So I took around 5 weeks to do this project. So the first 2 weeks was conception and content. So I started maybe a little bit earlier than others because the content was a lot of work. Just find all the questions, all the recommendations that are linked to it. Then I worked on the backend and the database for 2 weeks, and I finished with the front end. That is not really what I intended at the beginning, but that's how it is. So I faced some challenges because I worked a little bit on JavaScript, but I didn't know these frameworks before. So it was new for me. Then having a functional algorithm was not easy. It took a little bit of time to do the algorithm within the database because it's not in the code. And respect the deadline, prioritize well, because the MVP is not really finished, but I did the most important part. What I learned is obviously using those frameworks helped me understand it. I could be able to create a web app from scratch, from the back, database, front, and I could learn a lot and improved a lot my coding skills. So for the future, what I would like to implement in my web app would be able to download in PDF the recommendations. Having a user authentication and follow up with notifications, so the client just can, follow with the recommendations and do all the stuff. And having seasonal fruits and vegetables on the homepage using the date time where the user answer the question. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. And do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. Very nice presentation. How did you calculate the answers for the form? Is it hard-coded? Is it AI? What is your algorithm to get the perfect answer for each question?
So for each question, I just used my knowledge as a natural health professional. So that's how I knew, and I have people that nicely help me that are doctors to read my content, so it's perfectly fine in terms of just requirements about it.
Good question. How long did it take to manage all the cases possible?
Yeah, approximately a little more than 1 week, I would say. Yeah, it took me a lot of time.
So if you had to start it over from scratch, doing the same project, what would you change or do differently?
That's a good question. Maybe I wouldn't lose time on trying to implement other things in the database because that was the simplest versions. But at the beginning, I would have like a lot of different ideas. But I just noticed that it would be too complicated in the time I had in hand. So I just decided to tighten it. So I probably would start simple and just do this.
In your code snippet, you put all your code in the root. directly in the root calling? Why didn't you do like something like controller or something else?
Yeah, I thought of using controllers, but yeah, I just noticed that there was like, it would be managing my code in different parts, and I know that's the right way to do it, but I just thought it was easier for me to understand it this way. But I'm gonna improve this project in the future, so I'm gonna use controllers, yeah. Thank you very much.
that we've coded, and also a multiplayer where you can play against random people when you click on the search button. There is a tutorial that is directly available on the website. Also a profile page where you can manage your account, and a leaderboard where you have the game played, game wins, and game lost. Now we are going to show you the website with a little demo. So we just deployed it and bought a domain name. So there is the landing page where you can find all the features that is available on our website. Also our social media. So you can basically create an account, then log in into it. When you logged in, you just be redirected directly to the tutorial where you can find out the way to play Othello, but also some tips to win games. As we talked earlier, this is the chat box where you can discuss with the people that are connected on the website. Okay, the game starting. As I said, there is a 3 mode, solo mode, where you can play in local with your friends. Also an AI mode, where you can play against an AI. And finally, the multiplayer mode. I have my computer that is for trying the multiplayer mode and show you how it's works. So about the technology that we used, for the front-end part, we did the basis of the front-end, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The website was done on Scratch about the front-end. We used also Blender for the logo and the WebGL to integrate the game to the website. I'm gonna let Rodrigue talk you more about the backend.
For the backend, I create the game Othello using Unity and C#. I figured a MySQL database and built a server with Node.js and Express.js to control the connection between the database and the front-end. I also developed a chat feature so players can interact during the game. And this Instra feature facilitates the player interaction in real time and guarantees an enjoyable gaming experiences.
So now I'm gonna talk about the architecture. It's a basic architecture where the front end is gonna display the result to the users and also interacting directly to the web server that's gonna send requests to and process to the database and files that will be sent back to the web server and displayed for the user. I'm gonna let Rodrigue talk you more about the code snippet.
This code manages the clicking of a square on the board. It checks the movement is valid, update the board, change the tone of each player, and if a game is over, it's sending a message all players if it is. All these actions are synchronized in real time using RPC, stands for Remote Procedure Calls, from PhotoPoint, who is a plugin for creating online multiplayer games using Unity. It connects players via global servers and synchronize action in real times. Now I'm going to let Theo explain the timeline, how we do manage.
Thank you, Rodrigue. So as you can see, we had about 6 weeks. It was like 5, I think. But we spent the most of the time on the front end and the back end to perfectionate the website. On the first weeks, we just developed the Othello game with the multiplayer. That took a long time to do that. Also the chat box in the same time. And finally, as we had enough time and perfectionate what we wanted to be perfectionate, we just implemented the last week the AI and the leaderboard.
So in conclusion, take a look the challenge we have overcome. Firstly, it was managing a hard time effectively to do due to the extensive workload. And we also needed to gain proficiency in several technology, focusing learning C# and mastering Unity's features. My biggest challenge, it was the multiplayer part, because I had encountered many issues. I tested various solutions and consulted multiple online resources. I've been restart and try different methods until finding the right one.
Concerning myself, the biggest challenge was the front end from the scratch, and also like correcting every single alignment when you integrate the Unity game to the website. So you may wonder, what did we learn? Basically, that was the learning of the new technology that we approach, but also going deeper into the language that we learned during these 9 previous months about the formation, and also the patience, because when you want to integrate a game into your website, it can destroy everything what you've done. About the collaboration, we just used Trello, but mainly we just worked on Discord, live sharing our work in progress and other stuff, and also we used the face-to-face. So also, what's going next? Different kind of AI. I mean by that beginner level, intermediate and expert, a tournament system, and also a ranking system where players can match up together but with the same level. Thank you for listening. Do you have any question?
Thank you, guys. So you said you can play in local with friends. So how it works exactly?
So basically, you play on the same computer. You just yeah.
You talked about the multiplayer, that you used basically functionality that Unity RPC is something that comes from Unity to help you create your own multiplayer system. And my first question would be, if you would really ship this project and make it with a lot of players, would you go on with this system, or would you think about using a Steam-based multiplayer or something that is more on shelves and ready to use? Second question, is the AI you're using also an asset from Unity, or did you create something, or how did you integrate the AI part in the game?
For the AI, it's an algorithm. It take in depth the each movement of each players, and to get the best movement, who AI take the most spawns. Was still middle.
Because it takes the most.
Ouais.
Statistics, movement.
Oui. Yes.
That's not always
Ouais.
For the multiplayer.
I don't understand the question.
About the multiplayer part, the thing is that's not an application, that's directly on a website. So putting in on Steam, I don't think that's a good solution. We wanted the website to look like chess.com. I don't know if you have the, yeah. Any other question?
And how do you manage the part of the login account? There is moderation or stuff like that, or do you basically a user just create an account and that's it? It's over.
No, there is no moderation. I don't think so.
Maybe if
So
I
you-
want, I can create a brute force and
Yeah, yeah. There is no security. But maybe we should think about it and then implement it later. Any other question? Yeah.
You used WebGL and Unity. Could you use something, another technology for doing the same thing?
There is a P game with Python, but it's just on 2D, and I use Unity because we want on 3D, and I just know Unity do that.
And another question, for the chat box, what do you use to have real-time response? Mm. And with this, you got real-time with only JavaScript? You didn't use something like socket?
No socket. I use real-time JavaScript, Express.js.
Okay.
Thank you. You have no more question? Thank you. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to introduce you to my portfolio project, which is called AlvoHive, and it's a web app. But first, before I introduce you to the project, let me introduce myself. I'm Chloe. I was the front-end and back-end developer on this project. I also performed the pen tests, and I designed the web app, the design of it. This project stems from my great interest in cybersecurity, pen tests specifically. And I came up with AlvoHive, which is a web app that generates reports that contains the CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exposures, found in an environment, virtual machines in this case, found thanks to Nmap. So most of the technologies I used for this project were completely new to me. I had already worked with Python, Flask, and SQL Alchemy, but the rest was new. So I worked with PostgreSQL, Apache, CVE Search REST API, Docker with specifically Docker Compose. I used a virtual machine for Kali using VirtualBox, and MDUtils to generate the markdown, and Pandoc and LaTeX to generate the PDF and the template. Now, when it comes to the architecture I set up for my project, it's composed of 3 main types of environments. When it comes to the virtual machines, I have Kali, which houses the pen test tools, and then the virtual machines for which I perform the vulnerability tests. And then I have a set of Docker containers. So we have 3 that serve CVE search, which allow local searches in NVDs, which are known vulnerability databases. And I have 2 containers which host the data and the application, Apache for the web server and Postgres for the database. And I have a third environment with Windows and WSL for the browser and the Docker engine. I have 2 code snippets to show you. The first one is to fetch the CVEs that were found, identified during the pen tests with the product and its version coded according to CPEs, which are Common Platform Enumeration. And the second snippet is part of the report generation, including the data retrieved by the previous snippet. Now, I'm going to show you in action what it does, now that I've explained it. It's a bit wonky, I'm afraid, but okay. So I'm going to log in. And here you have the Docker containers I talked about, which have more data if you click on there. Those are dummy data or test data that I used to be able to test my program before I actually perform the test with real virtual machines. But then those reports, which I'm going to launch the generation of one, it takes about 10 seconds. All of the data you're going to see come from actual services that were found and tested for vulnerabilities using actual virtual machines, 7 of them. And as I said, it takes about 10 seconds to create the markdown, the graphics, the PDF, and then the zip file that contains both the markdown and the PDF. Now that this is done, we can go ahead and download the zip. We can look at the markdown file if we want. Then we have here the PDF, but you can also click here. As we can see, there are quite a few critical severities that were found. And if we want to see, it represents exactly 1.8% of all the vulnerabilities that were found. And here are all the servers that had vulnerabilities. And if we want more information, we can click on one. There is a short description, but if you want more information, you can go ahead and click on the link and get more information. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, now that the technical part is over, I'm going to talk about the timeline. So the first week was mainly to get familiar with Docker Compose, CVE Search REST API, doing the first set of pen tests to again get familiar with it, and set up the database. Then on the second week, I actually started to develop the tool to generate the reports in Python, created the template with LaTeX for the PDF, and then configuring Apache for Flask. On the third week, I created the front-end HTML pages and Python code for the section you saw, the contact, company, Docker. I set up the login with Apache, and I refined the template. And on the fourth week, I added the option on the web page to actually download the zip. I replaced the test data with actual data from actual tests on vulnerable machines, virtual machines, and created and updated throughout this whole process documentation, because there is no way I can remember everything I did and worked with, which leads me to the first challenge, which was getting introduced to a significant amount of new concepts. And it was a steep learning curves for each of them, which is why I had to make some sacrifices by using Docker Compose instead of Docker to simplify the syntax. I also had to prioritize the essential features of it, because when you see that an improvement is needed, sometimes you don't have the time to risk implementing it, so you had to stay with the MVP. I had some issues with the execution of Python scripts with Apache. I had to use WSGI, and I had a hard time finding the documentation I needed to fix my problem. And I had some issue with adding the image you saw on the PDF on the left for the template. It would not appear. Next, when it comes to my technical interest, I learned to use Docker with Docker Compose, but I would love to learn Docker in itself. I performed penetration testing commands with Nmap specifically, but would love to work with Hydra, for example. I also learned more ways to manage database. For example, the report section you saw is a view in my database, and that was the first time I used views. And I also deepened my understanding of Python and Flask. And this is going to be the conclusion and the next steps. Formats I would like to possibly implement would be JSON, HTML, CSV, XML, etc. I would like to add some kind of a technical summary to the reports. Not an actual one, but maybe some kind of an annex with all the comments that I performed somewhere. And link to that, adding results of different tests. Again, I talked about Hydra, maybe privilege escalation, password cracking, I don't know yet. And that's going to be it for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Really impressive project. You talked about Nmap. Can you walk me through the process from Nmap to the final reports? How do you get all the data you need?
So the good thing with the Metasploit console is that there is a Postgres database behind it that you can set up by using DB Nmap. And then you do DB Nmap and all of the options you want to get the services, the version, and all of that. It is stored in a Postgres database. And then I duplicate the two tables I'm interested in from this Metasploit database to my database, where I added the host, the option to get a PDF, the zip, and everything.
So you said you had to learn a lot of new technologies to do the project, but how did you came to pen test before everything else? So what's the story behind that?
The story behind that is that being a pen tester is my dream job. And so I really wanted to add this aspect of cybersecurity and pen testing into my end-of-year project. And while talking with some of my family members, I came up with this idea. And I thought it would be a great idea to make my end-of-year project on it.
What do you need as input for your report? Is it only the URL of the website, or do you need server access? What exactly do you need to generate this for my company, for example?
Well, in the perfect idea, if I were to actually deploy the website and everything, because right now it's not deployed, it's just on Apache. But the idea would be you'll be able to log in and use the same, how do I explain this? I'm using Flask with a main APP route that is going to render the report HTML page that you saw, the section. And from then on, it's going to go back to another route in Flask that I've defined in Flask, which is called execute. And from then on, it executes the Python scripts that's called generate-report.py. And if someone else wanted to use it, for example, as of right now, it's not possible. I created just an admin page for the demo days. But the idea would be, as soon as you log in, you would have assigned to you in the database a host, serve it, and then you would have to go ahead and give information about the vulnerable machine, the machine you used, or the environment you used do the pen test, and then you don't need to do anything else. You will be directly put in the database thanks to in order to the Metasploit database that is already there.
And while working on your project, have you benchmarked other solutions on the market that automate pen test reports and pen tests? And did you get inspiration from that, from some features or some future features, or how did you find your place in it?
I did benchmark, and I found services like RefMap, RefCom. I did not get necessarily inspired by it because their services are a lot more advanced than mine. But I thought it was cool in the future, if I were to never reach the level of this project that I want to be able to have services that are similar to it, because I think the concept is interesting.
Hello, dear jury, and thank you to be with us today. I'm Wilfried on C22, and my mission for this project was to build the Electron app and the landing page.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gilles, C22. I was in charge of the API gateway building as well as searching for external security tools. So our project, Protect Yourself, is a desktop application designed for novice users. It has two objectives. The first one is to gather within a single interface different security tools for novice users. The second objective is to raise awareness among these users about cybersecurity and about the importance of securing one's computer. As IT students, it was important for us to empower users, novice users, better protecting themselves.
So let me introduce the landing page, where we present ourselves and our mission, why we do this desktop, the importance of cybersecurity tools, and some article you can find on the web, and finally the download button to download the software.
So once you've downloaded the tool and you launch it on your computer, you get to this first page where you can either create an account, connect to your user account, or eventually contact us. So when you connect to your user account, we set up a password security which requires a minimum of 8 characters. Once you are connected, you arrive to your user page, which features the different security tools you've downloaded. Here you can, we feature the different security tools we provide in our application, and you can download it, and it goes in a default path we had set up. On the user page, you can access to a user guide which features different video tutorials in order to help novice users better implement the security tools. The users can also delete directly within our desktop application the security tools they have downloaded.
So concerning the technology, we used the technology you find when you make a web application, but with main difference that we use Electron.js, because we need to transform this application on desktop application. So that's why we use this technology. We need to have a desktop application because of three ways. The better security first. The second is the accessibility, more easy for the users. And finally, and the most important for us, is to allow updates automatically. That is our global architecture. It divides in 4 blocks. The first block is the landing page. The second is the desktop application. The third is the gateway API, which calls the database. Database is built with MongoDB. And after, the gateway API communicate with external API to download tools.
So here's a code snippet which represents the first steps into removing a tool from the user page and the database. The story behind this code snippet showcases an example of issues and some problem solving we were confronted to. For instance, the first strategy we had for this code snippet was to consider the users who would use their OS native deletion process. And logic was and still is to check into specified paths whether the tool still exists or not. But the issues we had is that on the Windows system left too many breadcrumbs which undermined the checking process. So we had to find a new strategy, and we came out with the idea to implement a more simple and fast external deletion tool which we could implement directly within the desktop application using a portable software.
Concerning the tree structures, we research a lot of modularity. We need the modularity because we want keep this project for a long time and implement other tools. So that's why it's important to do that easily and quickly. That's the same example for the part of the front in the Electron app. We used a lot of partials to make all of our page. So if we want to add a new page or change templates, we can do it easily and quickly. Concerning our global organization, first we need to learn new technology. We learn how to make an API with Node.js and with Express and MongoDB. It helps us to drafting the MVP, which use during along of our projects. Concerning the collaboration, we work face-to-face as possible. And when we need to work in remote, we continue our discussion in Discord. Finally, concerning the time management, we use the application Trello, which help us a lot.
In regards to the challenges, we had technical and non-technical challenges. And among the technical challenges, the first and foremost one was the learning process, because for this project we had very few knowledge about the languages and frameworks. And it took us quite a long time in the data line timeline to learn these languages and be confident. There was also the complexity of the data flow and modularity, because modularity was at the core of our project, and implementing the modularity within the code and into the whole project revealed to be quite tedious and quite challenging. And at last, the complexity of the algorithms revealed to be very challenging as well.
Concerning the non-technical challenges, all of these are linked because first we have a complex project, so we must know how to start, what we want to implement, and unfortunately sometimes we forget to implement some function like a deletion button. So it creates a gap in our planning, which we had to make up for. And that's linked with the trust management that we need to I forget le mot, gérer, manage for a project. So to conclude, we try to use a lot of technology we learned during this year and other like Electron through a project which be important for us, and we think it's in the heart of digital landscape. Thank you for listening. Have you got any question?
Thank you for the presentation and the nice project. Do you build the API gateway from scratch, or do you use an open source solution like Kong? Or
no, we did it from scratch using
So is it a personal choice to learn how manage API, or?
Yeah. It was both our choice, and we were advised to use it. So it's both. Yeah.
I saw that you used NoSQL. What's the benefits of NoSQL in this project?
We use NoSQL first because when you learn how to make API, the lesson is how to make API with Express and MongoDB. So we use that like a support. That's all for us.
Thank you. So in the future, or if you want to continue this project, what will be the next release or the next step to improve your application? Or
The next steps, due to the modularity we try to implement, the next steps would be to implement new tools so that we can propose more propositions and more tools for the users. The other thing also would be to be able to implement the desktop app for Linux systems and macOS systems.
You talked about the algorithms, and where exactly you used algorithms and for what? I didn't really follow that part.
For instance, we had a big challenge implementing the verification of the sessions and handling the tokens and being able to ensure that the communication between our application with the API gateway and the database was functioning correctly. And the verification process was very difficult to put in place.
In the code snippet, we saw that you kinda hard-coded path of file that it install. How would you manage if the user didn't install it at this path? How would you search for the computer of the man?
If I understand well, at first, for the downloading part, we set up a default path, which is the download folder for every systems. And actually, at the first issue we had is that for checking whether the tool still existed, we first checked into the download path, but it wasn't a good idea. So our second strategy was to look into the program files, either in Windows or for Linux system or macOS system, in the folder in which the package of the software is installed.
But if the user doesn't install it in program files, but in another part of his computer, like another disk?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it's a presupposé, but it's. No, it's very true. Actually, we considered that novice users wouldn't go to this point to change the installation folder. Usually, novice users just click on the default path which is proposed. But it's very true. It could be a good improvement.
And it's good for your case.
Yeah.
Exploration is good for your case.
Yep.
tricky question. Why would I use your app instead of the main package manager for my system, like a Windows Store or any Linux package manager?
I don't know if good. Okay. The application is cross-platform with Electron.js. It's answer to the question.
It's actually it's not meant to compete with the native security system like Windows Defender. We didn't have the ambition to compete with that. We just wanted to bring a few tools that would complement what's in store within the native system. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending this demo day, and please bear with me for this last and final presentation. My portfolio project consists of creating a prototype of a website for CIE Toulouse Center, and my MVP consists of an online form for host family recruitments. The team is me, Julie Dedieu, from C22. I decided to do this as a solo project because I wanted to push myself to manage an entire project, and also because I want to become a full-stack developer. The idea started before attending Holberton School, when I was working as a program coordinator for study abroad programs. And basically, it's the solution I would have liked to have in my previous job. Study abroad experience rely a lot on host families, and the recruitment process by mailing was very messy. So I was inspired by Seville Center example, who is the sole center to have a website among the 40 centers in the world. And I decided to build the one for Toulouse, focusing on the most urgent aspect. So, time for the live demo. I'm gonna move, sorry if I turn my back to you. So this is the homepage. You can navigate to different elements to get some information about the study center. But what we want to focus today on is the host family. So you can find information, recruitment requirements, and if you are convinced, you can sign up. So I'm going to use a very common name. I need like 2 hands. As you see, I need to type a long password because I wanted some security. I think I messed up. And so it's 12 character minimum. Okay. Oh, shoot. This email is already in use. It's okay, I can fix it the usual way, adding a number. This time it should work. Yes. So now you are directly redirected to the form, which you are invited to fill out. And you can complete the information, create, and go next. If you try to do next now, it won't work because you had to fill it out. Obviously, I won't show you the whole form now because it's going to take forever, so I can show you, what I can see, is if a user hasn't completed the whole form and log in again, they will be directed to the form again. So it's the already completed information. They need to go next. No, not previews, next. It's already taking so long. So as you can see, it's a long form, lots of information. We're almost there to the last component. And again, there's so much information. Finally, so if I click next here, as you see, I am blocked. So I need to fill out this information. So let's set up 1 student. No, makes more sense. You cannot accommodate vegetarian, you don't do for vegan. And now you can submit the form. Upon submission, you are directly redirected to the formulaire page, which contains all user information, which you can update, and it's going to be updated in the database, or you can delete. And that's it for the demo. So the architecture. The user arrive on the homepage. If they are convinced by what they see, they can sign up. Upon registration, their user information are stored in the database. A unique token is created for safe authentication, and they are automatically redirected, as you see, to the form page. Each step, information are stored into the database, so that if they quit, when they go back, they don't have to fill out the whole form again. When submitting the form, as you see, they are redirected to the formulary pages with their information displayed. The technology used for this project was VS Code for IDE, Git and GitHub for versioning. To build, manage, and design the database, MariaDB, IDSQL, and DB Schema. To build the data access layer, I use Python and SQL Alchemy. To build the routes, used Fast API supported with Pydantic. And for security, bcrypt, so that the passwords are not stored in plain text in the database, and JSON Web Token. And for the front end, I learned React. I learned a bit. And Bulma as a CSS framework. Here's a little code snippet. I can't see anything, but it's okay. There are three main functions, and that's the one that are at the core of security for authentication. The first one, check for password and email in the database if they correspond well. The second one is the token creation, using a secret key to build a complex and unique token per user. And the third one is one used in login process, retrieving the token, the corresponding token, and checking if they are correct. For the timeline of this project, after the main project, the whole project took about 6 weeks. 2 weeks were dedicated to research and development. The first week was dedicated to design the database and the backend architecture. The second week was dedicated to setting up the API routes and using Fast API Swagger user interface to test them. The third week, I wanted to have an end-to-end product working, which was the registration and login. And upon that, I built other React components and views. And the last week was front-end development, and including fixing bugs and front-end design. I mean, I did a bit of front-end beforehand. The challenges, many. First and foremost was the database design. I didn't expect it to be so difficult. I did a lot of back and forth, reshaping, simplifying, because I had too much ambition at first. Security and GDPR as well. As you see, there's a lot of information, so GDPR requirements are crucial. And I realized quickly that I will have no time to implement important features such as incremental save each time a user update or delete information, complete data encryption, and track and trace, have log tracking every changes that happen into the database. Time management was difficult too, as anyone, I think. I lost entire days sometimes trying to implement something and had to revert back to the original logic because it didn't work. Learning, for example, React was completely new to me, as well as Fast API, but the learning curve was a little less steep. The solution were to focus on the core features first and contact peers when I was stuck. As a conclusion, I learned a lot making this project. And I plan to dig deeper and pursue this project in specialization because it's a real project that I want to deliver to my former company. I will probably seek and learn more secure and appropriate technologies. I was suggested to use Django framework for the backend, for example, which I need to look up into. I want to definitely look more into GDPR compliance and how to implement that in my project because it's crucial. I cannot bypass that. More security as well. And for features, I want the host family to be able to position themselves to specific programs. I want the staff to have an interface and role and be able to access host family data with data extraction, or even better, if I can, a dashboard directly on the interface. I want as well use the government address API to do some auto-completion for the address, and TCO and SNCF API for transportation station, which is a later thing. And that's it for me. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. If you were to really deliver this project to your former team, do you think it would not be better to give them something built out of no-code tools? Because if they want to change things by themselves after like Typeform plus Airtable and fine, or because I know for learning you need to do that by yourself, but what do you think about the future?
It's a very good question, and I'm ready to switch to whatever the client is as a requirement for. I didn't consider no code. It's quite new to me. I heard a bit about that, and I'm not I don't have specific liking into one or the other technology. I'm open to everything. I think everything is interesting, and if they want that, yeah, I will learn how to deliver that, because that's interesting. I also want to actually work probably with the dev team if they agree to do that. I don't know yet the shape this collaboration is going to take. I'm in contact with them, but it's in the building, so anything can happen.
Thank you for the project. It's really interesting because you were confronted to the problem you solved, so obviously it's really cool. Do you plan on creating a kind of platform for every center that can generate their own platform instead of doing one after one another?
Actually, that's something I thought about, because when I was working there, I knew it was in discussion. They wanted to implement each site website, because for now it's only HQ website and solely Seville's website, which they paid for them. So I'm thinking maybe even a collaboration between Seville developer and me, probably, I would hope so. And to make the site portable for many countries will be a very interesting project, especially regarding cultural aspects and implement into the code language as well. That's something I definitely want to do and consider for this project. My goal is to make it better, more portable, scalable, and adapted, because each site, since it's an American company, everything is really well standardized, so it's quite easy to adapt to other countries, and yeah, that's something I'm actually really excited about when I think about it.
We saw that you protect address email, but you put random phone number, like 000. You should maybe, why don't you protect it too?
That's a very good question. Time didn't play in my favor in this one. I wanted to do it, but doing all the, we don't see it here, but in the form, if you don't answer any fields, some required fields, you have alerts, and there are some data validation implemented, but that's definitely one thing I need to implement too. It's just lack of time. And to me, for this MVP and today's presentation, it wasn't critical to show phone number protection, but I know it's critical to do that as well, and I will do it. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned some GDPR constraints for your project at the end. Can you tell us a little bit more? Because you deal with a lot of personal data. Some data are sensible. You can have some legal consequences if a hacker stole the data. Did you think a little bit more, or can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Thank you for this excellent question. I knew beforehand that I needed to implement some very strong data protection, and I quickly realized that it's going to take a lot more work and probably a team with experts in that area. I plan to follow an online training to learn more about the regulation. For this specific product, I know I will have to implement probably incremental save or maybe another type of save, but I need more time to study the option and what is more adapted to this particular project. I know as well that I have to save like images of the whole database regularly. And for legal consideration, I need to let this data be accessible in case of, I don't know, I hope not, but penal problems or justice problem. But probably, as of now, I lack knowledge about this, and I looked it up, but I kept that for later because I couldn't do this MVP today if I would take all that into consideration. But yes, I've downloaded tons of documentation about that and saved some readings for the vacation. That's. Thank you very much.